are some times you know you're a fan, and you know you're a fan. Maybe not a fan of the team, but you're a fan of the sport. And it's always funny when you just see how, man, this team used to be this, and now they're that. And you just can't help but feel like, man, whew, just how quickly the sports world can change. And this is probably why I like sports. I like college more than the NFL or professional, to be a matter, because sometimes you get player for one good year because of junior, senior, transfer, whatever. And you got to see how good the team could be next year. So it's kind of like playing Russian roulette with different teams. The NFL is a little bit more consistent because you can do something called, pay your players to stay on the team. So sometimes that can happen. And a lot of times I think drafting a player is more of a gamble than recruiting in some universities, because there's only so many you can take. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez and I'm a critic, and this sad note brought to you by the Indianapolis Colts. We remember when they had Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, and Philip Rivers for that 1 year. And since then, the Colts have been struggling to find an identity again. And I can't help but feel like a lot of it is self-inflicting, and a lot of it is just flat out stubbornness. So let's talk about the 2025 Indianapolis Colts draft class. One thing I'll give them credit is that at least this hat's comfortable, so at least I can talk about them. Now, before we get officially into the draft picks of the Colts, I just have to address, doing these videos when I review, there are some teams that maybe as a team may not be better than their opponents, especially in their own division. But sometimes their draft class just makes it feel like it sounds better. And I feel like the Colts, sorry, I got a lint or something in the corner of my eye. I think the Colts draft class sounds better than some of the other teams that are potentially viewed as, division winners or and beyond. Their draft class looks good. And you're just going, don't screw this up, please? So, and I think they kind of start off with a bang. And I'm going to put a funny segment here, but with the 14th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts selected Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State. Now, if you watch all my videos or just watch your favorite team, that's fine. I mean, that's why I do this. I want to give every team something to show. That's why I made this channel, because I want to give respect to every team individually without putting a segue or talking about the best player 1,000 times, ESPN. So, it was Loveland, the tight end from Michigan, and Warren were viewed as the top two tight ends. And I've heard Warren going to Chicago, and I've heard Warren going to the Colts. But I felt very much, a lot of YouTubers, and some ESPN will give them credit, but I'm giving the YouTubers more credit here, because there was more of them, said Warren or Loveland were going to go to one of these two teams, the Bears or the Colts. And I thought Warren, because if you watch Penn State, Warren was utilized more, similar to like Taysom Hill was in the Saints. He came in a quarterback, as a running back. He was more intangible, more of a wildcat, and he was great at that. And sometimes even threw. So I thought with Benny Johnson, the Bears, that felt like that's Warren. That screams Benny Johnson all over it. And then they got Loveland. I'm thinking, okay, so they're going to go with basic, good quality tight end in Michigan. Still don't hate the pick. Both I still would be excited if I was a Bears fan. And I'm still excited because I just like good players. So seeing Tyler Warren go to the Colts, can't help but feel like, oh, look, another tight end who wore number 44 in college. Granted, he's not going to wear number 44 in the Colts because, let's be real, Franklin already deemed number 44. But Tyler agreed to go with 84 to be just a good old basic tight end number. You could have gone with 40 to be cooler, or 47. I don't know the Colts roster number, but I would have stuck with the 40 just, keep the trend going. Or be a trend setter and, trend setter. There you go. Not shedder. Setter. And wear 14. I don't know. I know that's not what we're taking, but anyway, back to the point. Tyler Warren going to the Colts, I can't help but feel like because of the major question mark about Richardson at quarterback, and they got Daniel Jones, and I'm sure they're just yay on that too, that I would not, if they don't utilize Warren as, a wildcat, Taysom Hill type thing, then I feel like you're just wasting the potential. Hopefully they use Warren as a gadget player just as much as effectively as he was in Penn State. If they don't, that's disappointing. That's like getting an athlete who can do the long jump, but you just want him to do the marathon, but you want him to do the sprints only. It's like, but he can do the long jumps pretty well too. You could test him out there. No. So don't do that to him. At least I'm hoping. Colts fans, if you feel differently, but when I saw Warren go to Colts, I was like, cool. This is a game changer. This guy could help out, especially if Richardson keeps getting hurt every time he takes a snap. Warren can be that big bruising guy in those, quarterback keeper style things, and then jump passes, I just feel like this is potential. And Jonathan Taylor's gonna be Jonathan Taylor, so I like this pick a lot. I'm very excited for this guy. I just hopefully they utilize him as intangible as the Penn State did. And then to the second round, with the 45th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts selected JT Tuimoloau. JT Tuimoloau. JT Tuimoloau. JT. Edge, Ohio State. Like I said, this is another player like I said, they Colts got players that just feels like they're getting players, I feel like not rushing to get them, they're just landing in their lap, and these guys are intangible. I feel like JT was a big factor of Ohio State's defense. I feel like he was he's a constant motor. He's just rum, rum, rum. And they're running a 4-3, and I feel like, and they're putting him at the right defensive end side. I feel like if they put him in a 3-4 deep, and he would thrive. I think he will thrive too, but they're going to put his hand on the ground, let him go after the quarterback. That's fine. Remember, they still got Latu from UCLA they drafted, and injuries kind of made his career right now look like still a mystery for us to find out. But I feel like with the Colts, they got another pass rusher, and again in the division where you have everyone having quarterback that is seen much better than yours, and in a conference that is much better than yours. You definitely want to get pass rushers. You definitely want to get defensive players that love, going after, breaking tackle, making sacks, and making plays. And JT's a guy that if he gets like 8 sacks, it'll be like very quietly. You'll be like, he has 8.5 sacks. Really? It's like, yeah, he's a guy that I feel like he just brings his lunch pail to work kind of guy. He does his job. He does it well. Maybe make a splash here and there. Maybe he just happen to take on 2 blockers, and then the linebacker comes around and makes the play. Like, he just feels a guy that he's selfless. And I feel like that's going to become more impactful. But when he makes splash plays, it's shampoo splash plays. So for me, 2 big home runs for me if I'm a Colts fan. And on both sides of the ball. Then we go to the third round, and with the 80th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts selected Justin Whaley, cornerback, Minnesota. So, I feel like for the Colts defense, there's more players that I can safely say I recognize and I feel like have more impact. I think the Colts defense 2 years ago was a big factor for their season than their offense, even though Taylor and Michael Pittman has always been their go-to receiver. But it was always their defense. I feel like their defense were always the unsung heroes. Probably maybe because they played more than their offense in most games, because the offense sadly had moments of inconsistency. So I feel like the Colts defense is more sound and more players that have made either Pro Bowl stats, Pro Bowl appearances, or have made more plays that have impacted the shift of games than other defenses, especially in their own division. So them getting a corner, I can't help but feel like, well, with receiving cores, you get all this new receiver coming in from rookies and also from other players. You kind of want to make sure defense not falling a step behind. You got JT, and I said before, if you watch my Tennessee video, I said if you get a pass rusher, I think the next best bet for your defense to kind of like reload is get a DB. So once again, the Colts have read my imaginary playbook of novel called Picking the Best Players. by getting a pass rusher to sack quarterbacks and then getting a DB to shut down receivers so quarterbacks have no one to throw to. Or better yet, get picked off. So getting Justin here definitely screams the path of the Colts that they want to reload, getting a splash player for their quarterback, but they still have hope in it, sack quarterbacks, and then intercept quarterbacks. Good playbook. I'm like Bill Parcells if I had a career of football. Then we go to the 4th round. With the 127th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts selected Jalen Travis, offensive tackle, Iowa State. Now, every time I think we all can agree, every time we hear the word offensive tackle, we think of protection. We think of quarterback protection. And we don't even know if it's a left or right tackle. We just hear offensive tackle, we're thinking, okay, it's to protect our quarterback. Sometimes from himself, and sometimes from them. And we talk about them, we mean defensive players. I'm an offensive player, guys, so I have a little small bias toward defense. It's kind of like a sibling rivalry. We support you, but when it comes to running wind sprints at the end of practice, we're going to win, so we don't run wind sprints. At least less than you. Ugh. So, let's see. They put Travis currently at the right tackle behind Braden Smith. So, when you think of right tackles, unless your quarterback is left-handed, which is very, very few, it's mainly because it's probably meant for just, exterior support, probably more for a perimeter running for Taylor. And since he's viewed as second, maybe he gets utilized more in short yard situation as a 2 tight end set. Maybe they bunch up on, heavy packages. Who knows? But when you think of tackle, you always think of protecting the quarterback. And when it comes to the right side, and to my knowledge, I think Richardson is also right-handed. I'm going to put this more for also protecting Richardson from himself, but also perfecting the perimeter running for Taylor. That's my thoughts. Then we go to the 5th round with the 151st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Indianapolis Colts selected J.D. Giddens, running back, Kansas State. Okay, I feel like Jonathan Taylor is the guy, but also I feel like they don't want him to, destroy the tractions on his tires, if you will. So to me, they got Herbert, who I thought was very successful in Chicago, disappeared since. And then you got JD viewing it, and also you got Tyler Goodson, who I think was on the Panthers too. So with all that, this feels more of, we need to find a potential number 2 for Taylor so we don't, break Taylor down like a overused car. And we all know that Taylor has not had the most viewed by the ownership and leadership because of contracts and the status of running backs and stuff like that. So I'm sure Jonathan Taylor is one of those guys where it's like, if I set out, your offense is literally, curbside. So you kind of want to make sure that's good. But also you don't want to wear him down that by week 10, he's kind of worn, muscles ache or worse, turf toe, ankle sprain, swollen knees, So maybe you kind of want to make it go forward longer in the season. So you want to get a good number 2 and maybe even a number 3 guy just to help the rotation. Give Jonathan Taylor rest. Because let's be real, this feels more like a run-first offense. Like if there was 10 plays, I'm going to say 7 are run plays, and the 3 pass plays, 2 of them are screens. That's how much of the passing offense I am not confident right now with Richardson. If he proves otherwise, I am open for it. But we'll all remember that when Mitch Trubisky had one good year and then disappeared. So we'll see what Richardson can do, because let's be real, he is on the plank of his time with the Colts. That unless he does something, he's literally going to either be forced off, or he's just going to trip and fall off the plank to obscurity. And speaking of talking about quarterbacks, in the 6th round, with the 189th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts selected Riley Leonard, quarterback, Notre Dame. Now, I remember Leonard at Duke, and then him going to Notre Dame. Let's be real, it benefited his career tremendously, because I don't know if he would have been picked up out of Duke. But he went to the national championship. I feel like he showed more of athletics. I didn't think he was as mobile or as part of the offense of running the ball as I thought he was. I was quite impressed. I thought he was a very good pocket passer with some mobility, kind of like an Aaron Rodgers, that he can run, but he's not known for it. But there were times where Ridley was really being effective in the rushing attack, kind of like a thinner Tebow type S, with the quarterback keeps and the quarterback dives. And with Richardson, Daniels, both quarterbacks in front of them are mobile. Some a little more than others. I can't feel like that they're saying, oh, look, the same pattern. Just hopefully this one's better. And for Leonard, honestly, I think he might be, when it comes to quarterbacks drafted and being viewed as a third stringer, by the start of training camp, I'm going to say that Leonard might be the one guy that I feel like he'll probably get either more starts or earlier to start than others. So if you have a quarterback on your team or a team that has a third string quarterback that was drafted this year that's viewed as probably the third stringer or maybe the fourth stringer because of reasons, I'm going to say that Riley will be the guy that'll probably start either faster or more games than anyone else that's viewed in that same spot. Now that's kind of like, oh, that's kind of a very unique circumstance. Probably like less than 3 teams that probably have that. I'm like, true. But Daniel Jones, Richardson, do you guys really feel like if the Colts season, heaven forbid, goes down south fast by week 10, they don't just say, screw it, let's see what Leonard can do and try for the future? That's what I'm just saying. So, and now I'm not going to say he's going to have a Brock Purdy type, season, but I'm just saying, don't be surprised if Leonard starts before week 12. Don't be surprised. And don't be surprised if he ends the season starting the last 3 or 4 games if the season is lost. Then, still in the 6th round, literally the next pick, with the 190th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts selected Tim Smith, defensive tackle, Alabama. Good. A name that I can pronounce and write in Braille. Cool. Tim Smith. No, I can't write Braille. Okay, so I said before that when players get drafted later is because of raw potential. Tim Smith, defensive tackle in a 4-3. I can't help but feel like it's raw potential. Tim Smith must bench press an elephant, and he must be able to pull a U-Haul out of a mud pit. He must have raw potential, something that's intangible, that can be developed, that can be utilized. He's viewed as the third stringer right now, and the right defense have behind, of course, DeForest Buckner, which you all know he'll be the guy. So to me, this is probably more for intangibles. He'll get a lot of look in preseason games because of the reason it starts on where they play. So he makes splashes. And honestly, development. He probably has like a very quick 2-step, must have a quick, swim move, something like that. So to me, Tim Smith is a project player development for the future. And then we conclude the Colts in the 7th round with the 232nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Indianapolis Colts select Hunter Wohler, safety, Wisconsin. So the end with a DB. Said before about it, raw potential, probably very fast, quick 2 steps, probably good coverage, still very raw, needs time to develop, but probably make his impact on special teams on his way developing into something else. And currently here, Hunter is viewed as a strong side safety behind Nick Cross and Daniel Scott. So, like I said, probably not a rotational player, definitely will make his impact in preseason and in special teams, but if he makes a few splashes in preseason, maybe he gets more rotation in the future. But right now, his job is to make the roster spot, contribute on special teams, and learn. Still potential, better than most. And that is the Colts. What is the grade I give the Colts? I feel like a lot of questions of the Colts is based on their quarterback. Like, not even a question mark. It is 100% the factor is the quarterback play on whoever is the quarterback. The rest of the team, I feel good. I feel solidified. There are some players that I kind of want them to prove their worth. Latua, kind of want to see his worth. The guy from UCLA, he was the first rookie quarter. He was the first defensive player selected in the class, so I kind of want to see him do something. Hopefully he does. JT makes splashes and big plays. Tyler Warner, play utilize him mostly. I like the Colts better than the Tennessee. And Tennessee, I gave them not yet because I feel like there was too many. The Colts, I feel more confident with some of their player choices and the players they have already in position, and some they've actually drafted into becoming those players. So to me, I'm giving the Colts better. I just go far to say when I do my season preview of the Colts, I will say I like the Colts better than the Tennessee Titans. that if somehow the season ends and the Colts, end with one win more, I will not be surprised. But that's if, of course, the Colts go like 5-12 and the Tennessee go, 4-13. That's a different story. But I'm talking about right now, and with the quarterback so much of a mystery that even Stephen King can find an ending, I'm going to say the Colts seem better because everyone else around them looks and sounds better. I feel they make more impact. So to me, Colts are better, and the player I'm most excited about is Tyler Warren. Come on. Like I said, please, 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 please utilize him. Utilize him more than just a tight end. Come on, man. He has potential, man. He has potential. Taysom Hill. Look what Taysom Hill did. Quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end. He did it all. To the point where I'm like, he's my favorite Saint player. That's hard for me to say because I'm not a Saints fan because, the rivals. So to me, Tyler Warren is my favorite player to see. And he's probably my favorite. If I do like a top 10, Warren is my top 10 rookie I'm most excited about for the 2025 season. He is. Honestly, I'm more excited for him than I was about Brock Bowers. And Brock Bowers was clearly just a tight end and also had no quarterback history. But Warren, if they utilize his intangibles like he did in Penn State, he's going to make one the Colts entertaining, dynamic, and interesting. And fun. Come on, we want to have fun at least. If my team's going to lose, at least let me have fun with it. So that is the Colts. We are down to the two teams. Oh, look at that. Ain't that cool? Yeah, first take wonders here. So I'm going to say the team we're going to talk about next is a team that probably has the most pressure because, they won the division, and last year was kind of like a scariness, like, uh-oh. And now they're going to the third year together. We're going to talk about the Houston Texans as they continue to strive to keep control of the AFC South, as we know that their teams, the Colts and the Jaguars, and maybe Tennessee, are saying weaknesses are going to be exposed. Can the sophomore slum redeem the Texans to a third-year success rate? And we'll find out. So until next time, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.